And welcome back to the Schlocky Horror Picture Show. Don't worry, I'm not going to carry on with the clairvoyance jokes, but of course you knew I was going to say that. I'm sorry, I just can't seem to stop. Anyway, what drew audiences to The Evil Mind, a Gainsborough picture, was its stars. So, who is really the greatest scream queen of all time? Is it Barbara Steele or Ingrid Pitt, who starred in many classic horror films of the 60s? Or could it be the lovely Elsa Lancaster, who portrayed the ultimate female fantastic creation in Bride of Frankenstein? Or screamers like Carolyn Munro, Leanna Quigley, or Sybil Danning? Who can claim so many horror projects in their busiest years? Well, all these women are worthy names to toss around, but for many, the individual to remember for real queen status remains a Canadian actress from Alberta named Fay Wray. In 1933, Fay Wray was being threatened on movie screens by more than just King Kong. Next, in The Vampire Bat by, surprisingly enough, a bat. And then in Mystery of the Wax Museum, threatened by wax, and so on, as she faultlessly played hapless heroines in horrendous hazards. For the second and third time, she also had to endure Lionel Atwill's formidable villainy. Consequently, the year 1933 was to be Fay's busiest, as 11 different movies took to the screen with her name in the cast. Fay Wray passed away in her Manhattan apartment in 2004 from natural causes, close to a month before celebrating her 97th birthday, and she's looking quite well. The immortal paramour of the apes had been approached by director Peter Jackson about appearing in his remake of King Kong, but declined with an inarguable finality. Some actors will go to extraordinary lengths to avoid working in New Zealand. Claude Rains returned to his homeland after his recent success in Hollywood with The Invisible Man. I've always enjoyed the great acting of Claude Rains and found his overacting even more amusing. It wasn't until after this film that Rains went on to become a great dramatic actor, appearing in Casablanca and many greater starring roles. Rains never needed cue cards. He always remembered his many long lines to perfection, something considered a remarkable feat in Hollywood today. I'm not even going to mention his zillions of television appearances. No? Other pleasing appearances include a relatively unknown cast of now recognisable character actors, including Donald Clattrip, Jack Rain, and Frank Cellier. Ronald Shiner can be glimpsed during a crowd scene, DJ Williams is a member of the jury, and a 15-year-old Graham Moffat appears as a page. Moffat later found fame as a prominent member of the Will Hayes comedy cast as Albert. And of course there's Athol Stewart. Athol Stewart, who seemed to play nothing but lords, knights, squires, captains, colonels, governors. He seemed to be the ultimate authority figure of his time. Sir Michael Elias Balcon was a British film producer known for his work with Ealing Studios. When he was invited to head Ealing in 1938, he readily agreed. Under his benevolent leadership, and surrounded by a reliable team of directors, writers, technicians and actors, Ealing became the most famous British studio in the world, despite turning out no more than 6 feature films a year. Quality over quantity seems to be a tradition. The great anthology film Dead of Night, Went the Day Well, and of course the Ealing comedies were all released during his time there. In over 230 films, he worked with Alfred Hitchcock, Basil Did and Michael Ralph, me, and many other greats of the film world, and he was made a Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire of the Yada 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 in 1948. After World War II, his style of nice films were on the way out, so Ealing Studios started going down the tubes during the 1950s, and Balcon's creative control at other companies waned considerably. The last film on which he worked as an executive producer was Tom Jones back in 1963, after which he continued to encourage young directors, funding low-budget experimental work, in other words, pretentious rubbish. I shouldn't really say that, but I mean, he is dead after all, and it's not like any of those up-and-coming directors are ever going to give me a job, are they? Anyway, enough of my complaining. It's not as if anybody listens. Let's just get back to the future with The Clairvoyant. I mean, The Evil Mind. The first film to tell you what's going to happen next. On purpose.